Hey everyone, I'm Michael Bruce, CMO at Agent Moves, and welcome to our Good to Great series. We're all about sharing amazing stories of top realtors and how they got there, so we can help make more realtors great. So let's jump into our guest today, Inaky Strick. How did I do on the name?
You did great. Thanks for having me. Super
All right,
excited.
awesome. I am very sensitive, as I told you, so really great to meet you, Inaky. You really got a great business going. But before we talk about it, people that have been watching some of these videos know I like to start with something not about real estate, since that's all we'll talk about. Some cool things about Iñaki. Came to the United States when he was 12 and didn't speak English, which you're not going to believe when you hear this interview. Loves scuba diving, snowboarding. But tell us about coming over here, not speaking English, how your mom was your inspiration, and then we'll talk about how you got here.
Yeah, for sure. So, as you mentioned, we came over now when I was 12, and my mom had two options. It was either put me in a bilingual school or put me straight into the regular school system. And she said, I'm just going to throw you into the regular school system. So you're forced to learn English. And that turned out to be the best decision because very quickly I was able to learn the language and be able to adapt. So that's just the style that my mom likes to go. And that has translated into how I do business today. I just go for it, try things. They'll break sometimes, then we'll fix them.
Wow. Wow. Okay, that's cool. So now that you're a scuba diver, did she throw you in the water the same way?
No, no, no. Scuba diving was my idea. So I definitely took some classes for that and then went to the Cayman Islands. And that's where I had my very first open water dive. And I got to see three sharks and eagle rays and so many cool fish. And that was my very first dive. So I think I spoiled myself on that because that's probably one of the best places to scuba dive in the world.
Yeah, that was on my bucket list, but unfortunately, I just have not made it there. But maybe you'll inspire me.
Yeah, yeah. Highly recommend it.
Very, very cool. Love it. Tell us a little bit about the journey, right? So you're 12, you get here, mom throws you in, you learn English, you're in the school system. Tell us about what gets you involved in real estate. How do you get the bug?
Yeah, so as mentioned, my mom has always been my inspiration. She's always been a successful business owner and entrepreneur. So ever since I was 5 years old, I remember thinking, I want to be like her. I want to be a success. And back then, she was in the medical space, so I thought that being a doctor was the way that I was going to go. Just wanted to be like mom. And throughout time and going to school and going to college and taking some classes in that field, I quickly realized that it wasn't truly my passion. So while I was in college, I said, well, let me switch over to business because if I study business, then I can go into basically any field. That was my mindset back then. And during my very last semester, I took a class that was real estate finance. It was an elective. And I only chose that class because it will allow me to only be able to go to school Monday through Thursday and have Fridays off. So it was by pure chance. And turns out I really enjoyed that class. And I ended up reading Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And that's when I decided that I was going to be a real estate investor. So I never set out to be a top real estate agent. I just wanted to be an investor. But now I had a problem. I was a brand new college student with no money and no knowledge. So I said, how can I get both? I'll just start selling real estate.
Wow. So right out of college, you went into real estate.
Yeah, exactly. Which was kind of interesting because, as many know, you don't need to have a college degree to have a real estate license. And at the time, all my friends were like, what are you doing? You're graduating with a business degree. Now you're going to go get a real estate license. Like that seems a little bit backwards, but I knew where I was going. So I just didn't listen. I, put blinders on and just started the process of becoming licensed. And I started going to a lot of investment conferences and I met a lot of investors, builders, developers. And that's really where my path started in the real estate space.
Wow. And now your friends are making an hourly wage at a 9 to 5 job, and look at you.
Yeah, yeah. Some of them are my clients now, so it
That's
works out nicely.
I love the story. Unfortunately, right, agents have a bad rep. And that's a perfect example coming out of school, young people feeling like, what the hell are you doing becoming a real estate agent when now you're in it? We know how hard the business is, how much of a business it is to run.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. And at first, I started in the Woodlands, Texas, north of Houston. And I put about a year and a half in worth of work where things were finally starting to like get traction. And then a developer reached out to me and offered me a position in Belize in the Caribbean. Well, it meant leaving all the work that I have done behind, but I knew that I wanted to be an investor. And I knew that by surrounding myself with developers and investors, I would get closer to my goal. So I took that job and I moved down to Belize within a week.
Wow. Wow. What a risk. Tell us a little bit more about it. How did that work out?
Yeah, so that was great. I spent a year down there and I worked directly for the CEO of a $250 million project. and I got to learn a lot. You know, she was super like fast paced, making decisions super fast, and then fixing them along the way. And I just got to learn the speed of business in that sense. And I was in a marketing role there, flying out to California, presenting in front of rooms full of investors, and getting to come down to Belize and check out the opportunity. And we would just do that every 2 weeks, and one or two would buy every 2 weeks, and that was a system that we created.
Wow, wow. Okay, so tell us now, you come back to the US, you come back and go you work for a brokerage, or how do you come back?
Yeah, so I come back. I work for a private equity firm that invests in real estate assets, and I was their director of investor relations. So still aligned with real estate, still in the investment space. Now I'm talking to investors. I'm showing them the opportunity to invest with this firm, and then eventually I was living in New Braunfels, Texas at that time because I could live anywhere. Everything was done virtually and flying me out to different conferences. And at some point, I decided that I wanted to go back and work for myself. And that's when I went back to Sotheby's International Realty. That's who I was with at the beginning in the Woodlands. And that was about 6 years ago now. I started by myself. I didn't know anybody in this market whenever I moved here. And immediately I was looking for help. I was looking for an assistant. And the agents in my office were like, "What are you doing? Like, you just got here and now you want to find another mouth to feed." But I knew where I was going. So right away, I knew that I was building a business. And here we are 6 years later, over $120 million sold, 256 families helped in just that short amount of time.
Wow, wow, great story. So tell me about the first year. How does it now transpire? You hire an assistant. Tell us, you're in this new market. How do you start, making the connections and building that new database?
So I knew early on that real estate was not really about real estate, that it was really about people. So by not knowing anybody, I made it my job to make sure to go and know the people of New Braunfels, Texas. So I literally just filled my calendar with as many events, as many volunteer activities, I joined as many committees as I could with the Chamber of Commerce, the Junior Chamber of Commerce, some philanthropy committees. So I just made myself busy by making sure that I was in front of people. And I always wanted to make sure that those were recurring events so that it wasn't necessarily just a one off, but that I would get to see those same people again, maybe in a weekly basis, bi weekly, or monthly basis. That way I could build a relationship over time. And along the way, I would add them to social media, add them to my newsletter, and things like that. But I knew that my job was to go get known.
Very, very good. Very good. So tell us about the first year then. Your first year back with Sotheby's. How'd you do?
Yeah, so the first year, it was really a lot about figuring out how to teach my assistant what to do for me, right? So there was a lot of like trying new things. They didn't work, they would work. And so eventually, now 6 years later, we got a smooth running machine. And along the way, we picked up a few other agents, a transaction coordinator. I started working with developers. And so that really made me have to expand my team because I couldn't be in many places at one point. So now I have three licensed agents, the transaction coordinator, and a digital strategist as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. So tell us some of the work you're doing. What do you think of some of the things that have like kicked you over then in these last couple of years that has really brought on the success?
Yeah.
Besides you.
Well, we focus a lot on systems because the better systems that you have, the more you can scale. So that's really what I spend a lot of time on, as well as marketing through social media and then networking, so in-person meetings. And those are really my three core pillars that I focus on day in and day out.
Okay, excellent. So tell us what you're doing in digital.
Yeah, in digital, there's the place for really high end quality videos that will cost you some money to produce, but then there's also the quantity side. So I consistently post multiple times a day for 10 years now, right? So it's not something that I just started doing this year. And over time, my audience has grown, and I don't have a ton of followers. I mean, I have 4,000 followers on Instagram, but those are high quality followers that have stayed with me. And over time, they reach out whenever it's time for them to buy or sell a house. So I have been able to build trust through social media. And oftentimes they feel that they already know me and we have never met each other in person.
Right. Very good. I mean, to be able to, and I'll be following you on social after this, to be able to communicate a couple of times a day and not be intrusive, and be informative, really good, really good. Because it is the biggest challenge, right, that agents face. It's a crazy stat in this industry, right, that 75% of people don't use the same agent that sold them their house to sell their house because they don't remember them.
Right, right. Like the question before that is that they would use them, but they just don't remember who it is. to your point, you know?
Exactly, right? And then, agents feel like, wow, I have this great database. Well, all those names are in 6 other agents' databases as well.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. They're constantly getting followed up by other agents, and sometimes, if you're not the one that's in their mind, they'll just reach out to the other one because they just didn't think about you.
Exactly, right? So having that sphere, it's one thing, your sphere of influence, right? Another thing is how you're touching them and staying in touch with them. So you having, I guess, a digital coordinator, a person really running digital for you is giving you that ability.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly have multiple digital coordinators in a sense. Like I post myself on social media. I have my digital strategies, and I have the marketing team from Cooper Sotheby's. So there's a lot going into digital for us.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about now maybe something you wouldn't do, right? Because we have, top agents are going to be watching this, looking at, okay, how did he get here? But, when you get here, right, we all have things that we try. And I love, what your mom, your strategy of, hey, try it, fail fast, basically, get out, learn, and move on. So give us a couple of things you tried that, I'd never do that again.
Yeah, so one thing was starting a YouTube channel, which I think it's a great thing for the right people. For me, I saw that it was interfering. It takes a lot of time, right? So like I would say, like whenever you're gonna go try something, make sure that it fits within your current business and the future of your business. So it took us a lot of time to try to get that channel up and running, and then it made us realize that Instagram and Facebook are doing just fine. So why try to fix something that's not broken? So then we just focus down on the social media aspects. I would say like continue to try things, but as soon as you realize that it's not the right thing, just cut it off. Like just because you worked on it for a month or 2 months doesn't mean that you have to keep working on it. If it's something that you're seeing that is you're not successful at, or it's not something that you enjoy doing.
Love it. No, that's a great one. Like you would just think naturally, oh yeah, I have to be on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you're in a market and you see it's really not working for you, you're not getting leads, you're not getting conversions, you're not getting eyeballs, but it's working great on, why waste your time?
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. And I think that there is a good strategy to it, but it just didn't fit within the time
Yeah.
and the business that I wanted to build.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, exactly. We have a YouTube channel, I think a lot of the top agents do, but to your point, how well is that channel doing is another story.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because there's a million marketing things that we can do, right? But if we're trying to do all of them, we're never going to get really good at one of them.
Yeah, yeah. At least having like videos in one place there on the YouTube channel is kind of a cool repository if one thing versus using it as really promotion.
That's basically how I use it. I have my YouTube channel, but I just upload the videos that I created of the listings and whatnot. But I'm not trying to necessarily grow that channel to generate leads.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, got it, got it. So yeah, tell us about the lead gen, right? You tell us it's coming from the networking and then referrals. Talk a little bit more about like actively what you're looking to do to scale now 2025 and beyond.
Yeah, so I have never paid for a lead per se, in a sense of like I don't pay for Zillow leads or Homes.com leads or anything like that. For me, it's always been about relationships, and it's always been a people to people first. And so for me, I started going to real estate events about 3, 4 years ago, and that's when I saw that my referrals started increasing, and I started going to events outside of my market. So I would go to California, I would go to New York, I would go to Florida, and now I'm the preferred agent for them in my area. So whenever they think of this area and they have somebody moving out, they reach out to me directly rather than just a brokerage and then it having be sent to a random agent, right? So even though it can be costly to pay for a flight, pay for a hotel, and pay for the conference ticket, it has paid many dividends in my career, and that's something that I focus on. I go to, I would say, between 6 to 8 events every single year.
Wow, 6 to 8 events outside of your area.
Yeah, outside of my area.
Wow, that is fabulous. Wow, I love that. I have not heard that. Of course, other agents, network, especially in big states like you, right? Or California, where you do have a lot of people moving state to state. But I have not heard that. That is great advice. I always look for that little nugget of something different, having, interviewed, I don't know, 50 agents at this point. So I love hearing something different. That's a great one. Tell us about a little bit events. Do you do your own events?
I've hosted my own events, but I attend more events than I host. And sometimes at those big events, I'll host a side event or a happy hour, and it doesn't have to be anything huge. I mean, one time I partnered with another agent that was from New York, and we had an event in Dallas, and she brought 20 agents from her network. I brought 20 agents from my network, and we hosted a happy hour together. And we had that growth mindset, right? And into like, we're not competing, we're sharing each other's contacts, and together we're able to get more referrals by sharing each other's contacts with each other and having them network and mingle with each other.
Beautiful, beautiful. How aggressive are you asking for referrals?
I'm not at all. I'm the least salesy salesperson. I don't ask for referrals at all. Like my philosophy is be a friend first and a realtor second. So I just look to connect with people that I like to hang out with, that I could see myself being a friend with. And honestly, a lot of time we don't even talk about real estate. But whenever the conversation comes up, sure, I'll be there to tell them about the market, tell them about what we do. But I have never asked for a referral.
Wow, wow, that is really, really, absolutely something. So, anything around like your hobbies, like scuba diving, snowboarding, have you found any niches like that that you've kind of said, "Hey, there's a cool group here that I can really, really, talk to deeply"?
Yeah, I picked up pickleball recently over the past year, and I started feeling guilty because I love to get into the office early and stay there, for as much as I need to. But with pickleball, sometimes I don't get into the office till 11 a.m. But I started getting business from pickleball, so then I realized even though I'm having fun, I am working.
I still haven't tried it. My daughter went and I think she was like playing at a pickleball place where it's kind of like a top golf, so it's beer and pickleball. And like, of course, first time out destroyed her knee.
Yeah,
That was the beer, not the pickleball. But I still haven't made it over to try it.
sure. Well, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun and it's for anybody. There's all sorts of skills levels in pickleball.
Excellent. And I think just your great point of trying something different and boom, your natural ability to connect with people, you're around so many more people and good things are going to happen.
Yeah, and just back to that, seeing people constantly like that with pickleball. If you show up, once, twice, three times per week, you're gonna continue to see those people over and over again. And so it's not like I'm talking to them about real estate, but eventually they're gonna ask you, "Hey, what do you do for work?" Right? So whenever it comes up naturally, then of course I'll let them know. Or I have added them on social media, and they see what I do on social media, which lets them know who I am and what I do.
Right. Beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. Well, Iñaki, I love the thoughts. Again, it is hard to get new ones from agents, in these interviews, and we got a couple of really good ones from you. I think the notion of the channels and what you're doing, and pay attention to the time, like on YouTube. If it's not working, hey, on to the next thing, right? As quickly as you can, get on to the next.
Yeah,
And even, quite interesting not asking for referrals. You're the first agent I've spoken to. Not that they're aggressive asking, but there's always a way that, as a thank you or whatever it might be, very softly, because I do believe the most successful agents are not selling like you. They're just trying to help share their knowledge, share their wisdom. But with that, there are just soft ways of, right, that the greatest form of, how well you think you did was by offering a referral. But
well, I'll
thank
give you interesting stat about my business is 2 years ago, 33% of my business was referrals. This past year, it was a little bit higher than 50%. So I don't ask for referrals. I just connect with people, and yet half my business is referrals.
Well, love it. Love it. And we're going to leave it at that. It's fabulous. Tell us where to follow you on social media.
Inaky_Strick. It's just my first and last name with an underscore on Instagram. And then on Facebook, also Inaky Strick.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be joining and I'm going to be following you, Iñaki. So I love it. Can't wait to see the stories. Thank you so much for spending time with us. Follow Iñaki, please, on Instagram and Facebook, and Agent Moves. Follow us subscribe to our YouTube channel and our social. And until next time, again, thanks for the time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Enjoyed it.